Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this class. Welcome to TradeStation. This is a platform training, and we're going to showcase some of the scanning tools that are available on the TradeStation platform. I want to welcome everyone that has taken time out of your schedules to be here and learn a little bit about the TradeStation features. Before we get started on the topic, here are some important disclosures. Keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about in this presentation is for educational purposes only. It is not a recommendation of TradeStation. Active trading is not suitable for everyone. It's risky, and everyone should be aware of the risks of trading online. If you need more information on these disclosures, please visit our website at tradestation.com, and you're going to find all the disclosure information there. So again, welcome everyone. Before I jump over to the TradeStation platform, I want to talk to everyone about what is it that we're doing right here at You Can Trade. Most of you are already members of the You Can Trade community, but TradeStation is the host of two channels in You Can Trade. The first channel is Getting Started with TradeStation. It's a free channel. In fact, when you become a member of You Can Trade, this channel gets enrolled automatically. And you can go there and watch some of the archives that we have on some of our platforms. Like if you want to learn about the desktop, if you want to learn about web trading or the mobile app, we have all the recordings right there in the Getting Started channel. We also have some quick start videos. If it's your first time using TradeStation, it's a great start to learn about the TradeStation platform. For those of you that want to take your learning to the next level, we have the TradeStation Masterclass. That is a premium channel. We dive deeper into TradeStation's functionality. We customize the TradeStation platform to serve different trading styles. And this is $59 a month. Now, for some time, we have a 14-day free trial. So you can join the masterclass, check out the content, and then decide if it's something you want to keep. But with the masterclass subscription, you get live classes every single day. So you have the opportunity to interact with an instructor, just like in this setting. And we can talk about TradeStation technology and customize TradeStation to fit your needs. We also have strategy concepts that are discussed. We also talk about technical analysis. We show you a little bit about easy language programming. And all the classes are archived. We have an additional series of classes that are more like open sessions. These are open discussions where you come in and you ask questions about the TradeStation platform, and we discuss and talk about those features in a live setting. So make sure that you join, at least to take advantage of the 14-day free trial, and check out the content and see if it's something that you want to continue using. So welcome everyone to the TradeStation platform training. I'm very excited to present to you guys. Most of you are already using TradeStation, which is great. So let me go ahead and switch over to my TradeStation platform. Okay. I'm not sure if you can see the number of people that are here in class. We have over 400 people connected. So it is going to be a little bit challenging for me to go in here and look at the chat and answer some of your questions. So for this presentation, let's sit back, take a look at the information that I have for you guys. And if you have any questions, please join me in the masterclass. We have a couple of sessions that are dedicated to Q&A. So you'll have plenty of opportunities to ask those questions. On my screen, I have two different charts. By the way, the topic of this presentation, I'm not sure if I read it, but is scanning the symbol universe for trading opportunities. So it's a very interesting topic. And TradeStation has a tool that allows you to scan the whole universe of symbols to find the ones that are meeting certain criteria. And I'm going to show you an example of something that you can do and maybe trigger some ideas on things you can do on TradeStation. So let's take it step by step. I don't have any downloadable workspaces or any custom studies. Everything that I'm going to show you is pretty much built into the TradeStation platform, so everyone can do it on your platform if you choose to do so. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. I have two charts on my screen. On the left-hand side, in fact, let me switch these charts to daily because I meant to have a daily chart and I am not there. So daily chart of Moderna and a daily chart of Regeneron. If you're familiar with these two symbols, these are biotechnology companies. One is in Massachusetts, the other is in New York. One of them has been highlighted in the news very much, which is Moderna. There's a new vaccine for the COVID-19, and it's been in the news a lot of times. If we measure how these two stocks are moving, they're going to be very similar. Let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to use something very simple that everyone here is probably familiar with, is the average true range. It's built into the platform, so you can go to studies. Let me do that here on the left chart. Add study. Let's wait until my list of studies here come up. All right, this class is being recorded. I see the question right there in the chat. I am recording it, and it'll be available in the TradeStation YouTube channel. Let me go here and look for average true range. All right, let me select this one. All right, let me make the thickness of the line bigger so that it's easier to see. So I added the average true range here on the left-hand side, and we can see that Moderna moves an average of $10.99, or has moved an average of $10.99 for the past 14 bars. That's the period that is built into the average true range. We can change that if you want, but for the past 14 days, that's the average movement for Moderna, $10.99. Let's take a look at Regeneron, which is also a biotechnology company. Let's go here to studies and add studies. Okay, let's add the average true range. By the way, my columns here are not resizing properly, but you can see that this is the average true range that comes in built into TradeStation. I click OK, and you can see the average true range of Regeneron. It's also around $10. You can see that it's $10.83. So they're very close to each other when it comes to movement. So when you compare them, yes, they're going to move about the same amount. So this is a very simple form of volatility. It just lets you know how much these symbols are moving. But the big difference here is the price of each one of these stocks. For example, Moderna is trading about $116, and Regeneron is trading at $473. Let's suppose that we are going to trade 100 shares on each one of these stocks. Let me pull up my notepad so that I can make some notes and we can all follow along. Okay, so Moderna and Regeneron, let me resize this so we can see the charts in the background. So REGN is trading at $473. We saw that just now, right? So if we trade 100 shares of this stock, this trade would cost you how much? $47,300. That's an investment if you were to trade 100 shares of this. Now for Moderna, so mRNA, which is trading at 116, if you trade 100 shares of Moderna, we're talking about an investment of $11,600. Does that make sense? Everybody follows me? But take a look at the investment because it's significantly higher. So I'm going to say that these two stocks move an average of $10. If we just consider their movement of $10, right? That's the average true range. If we multiply that by 100 shares, we're talking about a movement of $1,000, right? If you trade 100 shares of Moderna or you trade 100 shares of Regeneron, both of them are going to move an average of $1,000. Now, okay, so we have a movement of $10 per share, and if you multiply that by 100, it's about $1,000. But here's the catch. If we were to take the same amount of capital that we are investing on REGN and invested on Moderna, that would give us a more potential profit or loss, depending on which direction the market's moving. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to take the 47,300, and I'm going to divide that by the price of Moderna, which is 116. That is going to give us, let me whip out the calculator and do the math on the calculator. So 47,300 divided by 116 give us 407. That's shares. With the same capital that you would invest on Regeneron, if you were to use that on Moderna, you could buy 407 shares. Now, that is very significant and very useful information, because now, if we take into account that Moderna moves $10 in average, our movement here of $10, if we were to trade 407 shares, would mean that our movement translates to $4,070, significantly higher. Of course, that movement can be to our favor, making us money. That would be a profit, or it could be against us. That could be also a loss. So we always have to consider both sides of the trade. The idea here, though, is to look at two companies that, based on the ATR, move about the same. They move about $10 on average. But when it comes to the investment and the risk that you take by putting all that money into a trade, then we can see that Moderna would be a better trade in this particular example. Again, I just emphasize that I'm not advocating the trading of Moderna. Is just an example on how you can measure average true range in a way that is representative of the stock's value, because that's the way that average true range should be looked at. Yeah, it's interesting that these two stocks move about $10 in average, but it's more interesting to see how that translates into the value of the stock. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a variation of the average true range so that we can calculate, okay, this moves $10, but how does that relate to the price of the stock? Let me go ahead and go to studies, and I'm going to add one of the built-in studies that come here on TradeStation. And you'll have the ability to do that or do this on your TradeStation because it's in the list of studies. I'm going to choose one that says custom one line, and I'm going to prompt for editing. I'm going to check this box because I can change the formula before it goes on the screen. Let me click OK. Let me go to inputs. And the first thing that I'm going to put here is the formula of the average true range, so you can see that it matches. The formula for the average true range is AVG, true range. And then inside parentheses, you have to supply how many bars you want that average true range to be calculated on. So make note of that. Again, this is going to be recorded, so you don't have to stress about not catching every single detail. You can come back and play it at your own speed and then practice it on your TradeStation. If I click OK, notice that this added another custom one line, and it matches the average true range. And I just did this so you can see that by putting it that formula in there, you are getting the same value. But I'm going to do something else to that average true range. Let me double click here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that average true range and divide it by the close. That way I know what percentage that movement is in relationship to the value of the stock. And I'm going to take this whole division, and then I'm going to multiply it by 100 so that we can get a percentage value. So let me go ahead and enclose this whole expression inside parentheses and multiply it by 100, right? So we divide one number into the close, we get a decimal, we multiply it by 100, and we get a percentage. If I click OK, take a look, 9.46. What is that? That means that $10 is close to 10% of the value of the stock. It's very clear because, I mean, Moderna is trading at around $116. 9.5% of that is about $10. It's an interesting concept. Now, let me go ahead and instead of doing that here, I'm just going to, let's do it again. That way it serves as a practice. I'm going to go to Add Study, Custom One Line. And since I know the formula already, this is open parentheses, AVG true range for 14 bars. That goes in parentheses as well, divided by the close parentheses, times 100. I click OK. There we go, right here. Take a look at the difference. The $10, even though it seems like they're very similar, they both move $10, that is only 2.3%. So we're talking about a stock, Moderna, which moves about the same amount of money compared to Regeneron, but it's almost 5 times when it's compared to the price of the stock. So it's an interesting concept. When you look at stocks this way, then you say, well, then Moderna has better potential by being able to invest more money because it's a cheaper stock. Does that make sense? Let's go ahead and use the same concept in the scanner to look at opportunities of stocks that are moving significantly based on or related to the price of the stock. I mean, if you take a stock like Amazon, for example, I'm not sure what Amazon is trading at, but let's take a look. Let me right click on one of these windows and I'm just going to copy the window. Let me go to a new workspace, right click and paste the window. Okay, I just want to create a duplicate of the chart. Let me go to Amazon, for example. Amazon, what is Amazon trading at? AMZN. So take a look. Amazon is trading at $3,173 per share. That is impressive. And the stock moves about $67 in average every single day. That is also impressive. But when you look at what that translates into a percentage, that's only about 2%. So even though Amazon moves an average of $67 a day, which seems like it's a great number, when you look at the value and how much you would have to invest to take advantage of that movement, I mean, you start thinking about, is that really a good trade compared to others? Remember, this is relative to other symbols. I'm not saying that Amazon is not a good stock to trade, or otherwise, I'm not saying that it's good to trade either. These are just examples, but I want you to get in the mindset that sometimes when you look at values like average to range, always look at that value in relationship to the value of the stock. So let's go back here to my workspace where I have my 2 biotechnology companies, Moderna on the left-hand side, and I have Regeneron on the right-hand side. I'm going to use the same concept in scanning for opportunities for stocks that are moving significantly in relationship to the value of their shares, because that is important. Let's find those stocks by using the scanner. I'm going to open up a new workspace here, and I'm going to pull up the scanner. Where is my scanner? Here it is. I probably have a couple scans already created here, so it's okay. We're going to start a scan from scratch, and I'll show you all the different technicalities and all the things you can do to the scanner to make it work the way you want. By the way, if this is your first time using Scanner, there is a box that gives you sample scans. So if you right-click and go to Settings, or even if you go to Settings here at the top, you have sample scans. Click it. Notice how the box shows up. You can use any of the scans that are here, or you can create scans of your own. The ones that are here is not because they're ideal scans. They're just here for you to look at how they're set up and maybe build on top of them. Because these scans, even though we're not recommending them, they're good scans. They give you ideas on how you can combine quote data, fundamental data, and technical data. So take a look at the sample scans, use them if you're just getting started and you want to get ideas on how to set it up. Okay, let's go ahead. So let's go ahead and create a scan of ourselves. Okay, let's go click on Add right here on the bottom left of the scanner. This will be a scan that will look at price, volume, EPS, and ATR. Let's use the same concept that we talked about and we started with. So the name, I usually put in everything that I'm going to be looking for so that when I look at my list of scans, I know what this scan is looking for. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. I'm just going to click Next. And on this next dialog is where I tell the scanner what is the universe that I want to look at. The scanner is one of those tools that were designed thinking about stock traders. And the reason for that is because the stock market is the one that has the most symbols. If you think about it, there's almost 10,000 listed stocks that you can scan right here, which using another application would be almost impossible. If you are a futures trader, this tool may not be so beneficial, because if you trade futures, you can probably put all your futures and all your commodities in one application like radar screen and monitor them tick by tick. Well, when it comes to the stock universe, there are so many stocks and so many potential candidates that we need a tool like Scanner to narrow down the list of symbols, narrow down that universe to something that is more manageable and something that you would be interested in trading. There's no point in loading 10,000 symbols into your TradeStation if you're not going to be trading half of them. Does that make sense? So we're going to start listing criteria that we think it's important for each one of these candidates that we want to trade. So for the symbols, let me go here to the drop down, and I'm going to select all stocks. Notice that you have an all stocks and including OTC. I'm just going to select all stocks. I'm going to keep it simple. But notice that you have different groupings here. So if you want to scan the pharmaceuticals, or if you want to scan the biotechnology companies, we have some lists here that are very specific. So when you get a moment, explore all the different things that are available in this dialog. I'm going to select stocks because that's the scan that I want to do. Right here at the bottom gives you an opportunity to exclude certain sections for whatever reason. So if you want to exclude, let's say, the New York Stock Exchange or a certain group of, transportation stocks, whatever the reasoning is, you can exclude certain sections. For this example, I'm not going to exclude anything. I'm going to include all stocks, okay? Perfect. Robert, I see your question about 9.5. Yes, the functionality that I'm showing here is also available on TradeStation 9.5. So if you're using an older version, it should work exactly the same. Let's click next here. Okay. So this is where the fun begins. This is the scan criteria. This is where you tell the scanner what are the stocks that you're interested in. And I'm going to start off with description. Description is a type of filter that gives you the name of the corporation, because when you, and this is something that I've learned by using the scanner many times, that when you get a list of symbols, you have no idea what those acronyms are. You know, you see the actual ticker symbol, but it means nothing if you don't know what the underlying company is. By having the name of the corporation next to the symbol, you at least have some understanding of what the company does. You know, like for example, when I went over here and I created my workspaces and I was looking at Regeneron has, the name was Regeneron Biotechnology or something, or pharmaceutical. So I knew what the company dealt with. So a lot of times the name will tell you what the company is. So here I can go to the drop down, look at all the different folders, and I'm going to go to one that says company profile. So let me open that up. I just click on the little box here on the left to expand, and I just select the description. And the description is just going to display. All right, let me collapse the company profile. I'm going to open up the price category, and I'm going to select the closing price, the current closing price. And I want the closing price of my stocks to be between a certain range. And I want those stocks to be between maybe $5 and 100. I could go a little bit higher. You know, there are some very good stocks that have a higher price per share. But again, this is just an example. You choose the range of prices that you want to trade. In this example, I'm going to go from 5 to 100. Most of the time when I'm building a scan like this, what I do is I run it even before it's finished, because I want to know how that filter affected the universe. So if I have 10,000 shares and I say, I only want the ones that are between 5 and 100, I want to know how many stocks out of the 10,000 meet that criteria. So I'm going to just click on run right here at the bottom. And I'm going to show you a couple things here. Okay, you can see how quickly that scan ran, and it gave me the results automatically. But rather than looking at the results now, I'm going to click on this little tab down here at the bottom. This is the log. Let me resize this scanner so that we can see it better. Okay, I go to the log. Take a look at the very top. It says the universe size is 9,485. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. Atul is asking, can you create complex criteria by writing free-form formulas? Yes, everything you can think of in the sense of criteria, you can pretty much create it here. If it's not built in, then you can create it. So notice here, the universe size is 9,485. And just using my price filter, where I said that I wanted stocks from 5 to 100, 7,343 symbols remain. With just one filter, I was able to knock out over 2,000 symbols. That's pretty impressive, right? Just by one filter. And I do this step by step so that I know which filter is the one that's causing the most eliminations. Because I mean, a lot of times we work on the criteria and you add this filter and then the next filter, and then you have so many filters that at the very end you run the scan and you get no results whatsoever. And it's harder for you to go back and see which one is the one that had the biggest effect or the biggest elimination. So here, by doing it this way, by running it every time you add a filter, you have an idea on how that filter is affecting the universe. Let's go back here to customize. Okay, and let's go ahead and take a look at my third filter will be volume. So let me go here into volume. There's a lot of volume quote calculation here. I want to point something out to you. As I hover over certain things here, let's say that I hover over the volume average 3 months, you're going to get a description right here at the bottom. It explains how that field is calculated. It says down here, this is the moving average of the cumulative trading volume during the last 3 months. It's calculated by dividing the cumulative trading volume of the last 91 days by 3. So this is monthly average, which is not what I want. I want daily average. I want to use this one that says volume average 10-day, which says that is pretty much that, the volume average for the past 10 days. And I want that to be greater than 1 million. At least 1 million shares traded a day. Again, I'm going to run. I notice that from the 7,300, I'm down to 922 only. That is also impressive. So out of all those 7,000 symbols that I had before I applied this filter, only 922 trade an average of 1 million shares or more. I find that to be impressive, and it gives you an understanding on the universe of stocks. You know, there's a lot of stocks in the universe that you're probably not going to want to trade because of liquidity. So if you find a stock that doesn't trade as much, the least you want to happen to you is to be stuck in a position because there's no other or there's no opposite side to take your trade. So if you're long, you cannot sell it to anyone because no one's buying it, right? So things to think about. So this is volume. Let me go back here to the criteria. I'm going to click on customize. And I also said that I want to use earnings. So for earnings, let me go here to the profitability of the stock. I'm going to open up earnings per share. I'm going to use the earnings per share MRQ, which is most recent quarter. And I want the most recent quarter to have positive earnings. So I just want to compare that to 0, and I want it to be greater than 0. And I also, let me go to the next one. I'll do that at the same time. I'm going to use the earnings per share of the trailing 12 months, TTM, and I want that to be greater than the earnings per share for the prior trailing 12 months. So not only do I want increasing earnings from one year to the other, but I also want the most recent quarter to be positive earnings. Let's run this. You can see how quickly this runs, because up till now, we've used quote data that runs on the TradeStation server. You can see that we have 215 symbols remaining. So we went from almost 10,000 down to 7,000, down to 900, now down to 200. Let's go ahead and work with those 200 symbols and do our technical work. I'm going to go here to customize, And let me go here and go to the drop down. And this is where it opens up to everything that is custom. Do you guys see indicator, show me, and paint bar, and even trading app store? This means that the scanner is open to anything that you create in easy language. Easy language is what drives every technical study and every strategy inside of TradeStation. So if you're able to write easy language, you're able to put any custom criteria into the scanner to look for stocks that are meeting a specific behavior. Okay? Let me do that right now. Let me go here to indicator. And I can take a look at average true range. Let's go here to average true range. Okay, let me just click OK. And for this, I'm just going to display it. Let me show you what this looks like. Display means that I'm not going to use it as an eliminating factor. I'm just going to use it for it to display the value. Let me show you what that looks like. Let me run this. Okay, notice how when it gets to calculating easy language, it's a little bit slower. Why? Because this is running on my laptop. My laptop is the one that's downloading data for the 215 symbols and is running the calculations of that study to figure out what the ATR is. Something to keep in mind, because you probably don't want to do this. You probably don't want to run easy language on the whole universe, because it's going to take longer than what you see here. Unless you have a super duper computer and that's what you want to do, that's fine. But just be aware that if you don't use some of the other quote filters like price, volume, and some fundamental data fields, you are going to sit there for a while waiting for the scanner to run. Now you can see that I'm running the ATR on 215 symbols, and it's taking some time to run, but it's fine. It's progressing pretty fast, considering that I'm only using a laptop and I'm running Zoom and I have my webcam and I have everything running on this computer as it is. Notice that we're back to 215 symbols. It did not eliminate anymore because we just told the scanner to display the ATR. But if I go to the results, I see all the different filters that I applied. I see the description. I see the closing price. You can see that these are stocks between 5 and 100. You see the volume average. All of them are above a million. You have earnings information. And you have the average to range right here at the end. So the nice thing is that every filter that you apply to the scan shows up as a column. And you see the value of that column. Not only that, you can scan, you can sort the values here. For example, if you want to know out of all these 211 symbols, which one is the cheapest, just double click on close and it sorts in ascending order. You can see that NCZ, Alliance, Convert, and in corporate, not sure what those initials are, it's $5.06. It trades 1.2 million shares in average, and it has an average to range of 6 cents. If you want to know which one trades the most, double click on volume average once so that it sorts in ascending, and double click again so that it sorts in descending order. And now the top values are at the top. Intel, AMD, these are stocks that are at the top because they trade, 36, 32 million shares respectively. Take a look at the ATR. We see it over here on the right-hand side. We can also sort by ATR. Let's sort by ATR and take a look at the one that has the highest ATR. Edit is the symbol, EDIT, moves an average of $8.99 per day. If we take a look at the ATR or the 14-day ATR. But as we explained at the very beginning, the value here can be misleading if we don't take into account what the price of the stock is. So this stock is trading at $83. So that 8.99, yeah, it seems like it's significant. It's almost like 10% of the value of the stock. But let's go ahead and scan by the calculation that we did at the very beginning of class. We want to know out of all these 211 stocks, which ones have the most potential when it comes to movement in relationship to their price. So let me go here to customize. And I'm going to add another filter. And in this particular filter, I'm going to go to the indicator list and choose that custom one-line study that we just used in charting. Let me go here. And by the way, if this is a little bit too fast for your taste, I remember that this class is being recorded. So you'll have the ability to play it at your own speed and practice it on your own platform. So always keep that in mind, because if you miss a little detail here, don't stress out. You'll have the opportunity to watch the archive. I'm going to come over here and look for custom one line, because I'm going to put in my own ATR formula. I'm going to click OK. I do have to expand the custom one line to have access to the inputs. So I click on the little plus here on the left-hand side. Here, I can see that it's using daily bars, and the formula is up here. So let me go ahead and remove whatever it's in there. And I'm just going to type in the formula that I used in charting, which is open parentheses, AVG, true range for 14 bars divided by the close parentheses, then multiplied by 100. I'm sorry, it doesn't fit everything in here. Let me see if I'm able to resize some of these columns. Yep, I am. So take a look at, let me resize all of this so you can see everything. Okay, you can see the formula. So we take the average true range for 14 bars divided by the close, that gives you a decimal. And when we multiply that by 100, we get the percentage. Okay, that value, I want to filter my list here. I don't want to take a look at 211 symbols. I think that's a little bit too much. But what I want, and I come here to the operator, is I want you to give me the top 20. So out of the 211, I want you to show me what are the ones that have the top 20 or the top ATR value in relationship to the price of the stock. So top 20. Let's run this. Okay, here we go. Again, remember that we're doing easy language on the ATR. We actually didn't need that, but I just left it here so that you can see how the ATR compares to this other formula that we're creating, where we take the ATR and we divide it by the closing price to get a real relationship, a real value that we can compare across different symbols. We're equalizing the ATRs so that we can use it across multiple symbols. Okay, while this is finishing, now it's going to run the custom one line. Let me take a look at some of the questions here. All right. Jim, I see your question about how do you use this to find trading opportunities. As I said, it's relative to what filters you're looking for, what type of behavior. You know, in this particular example, I'm looking at potential movement in relationship to the movement of the price. I haven't done any more analysis. I'm just looking at what stocks give me the most potential based on the value of the stocks. And then I would have to go back in there and take a look at other trading signals if I want to use them. But these are stocks that have the most movement compared to the value of their shares. Can you exclude ETFs? We don't have a built-in list of ETFs, but what I've done in the past is I download a list of ETFs from the web. I use Google and I search for ETF lists, and I save my own custom symbol list. So when I run the scanner, I can run for stocks, and in the section where you can exclude certain sectors, I just, enable or check my ETF list so that it's excluded. That would be the way to do it, Robert. Can we scan for gap ups and downs? Most definitely. If you go to the list of studies, there is a show me that tracks gaps up and down, and you can scan by it. Can we add the MACD to find the stocks? Negative to positive? Most certainly. All those technical studies that you are used to, Bollinger Band, MACD, stochastics, those are all built into the TradeStation platform. And the way that I used the ATR and this custom study that I just added, you can do the same thing with any technical study, not only that is built into TradeStation, but maybe something that you create yourself. Let's go ahead and take a look over here. The results came back. You see the list of symbols. You see how many symbols are here? Only 20. Why? Because I told the scanner to give me the top 20. So if I look at these symbols, let me resize the description. Let's look at the average true range. Okay, if I sort by average true range, you can see how the top one is edit. This is the one that we saw before we ran the actual custom study. But if I sort by my custom study, edit is not the top in the list anymore. In fact, the top of the list is this stock, RVP. The company is called Retractable Technologies. Not sure what the company does. The price of the stock is $11, and it moves an average of $1.44. Now that is 12% based on this custom study that the formula that we added. That's 12% of the price of the stock every day for the past 14 days. Of course, something could have happened to that stock. We haven't even looked at a chart, but here is a stock that it's outstanding the way that it's moving in relationship to its price. What is happening to it? Maybe it's time for us to do some research and see if it's something that we would want to trade. But a lot of times, using scans like this allow you to discover trading candidates that you can add to your portfolio. This is just a very quick way for you to use volatility. This is a very simple form of volatility, how much the stocks moves up and down and the potential in relationship to its price. But I think it's a great way for you to, to put your capital where it matters the most. And this is a great way to do that. Again, we're not a recommending firm, but I wanted to use real examples and real symbols so that the concept was clear. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these charts. I'm going to resize my scanner. Okay, let me pull up my chart. Okay. And here, let me just put my chart on the right-hand side. Reduce the bar spacing, turn this into a daily chart. Okay, and I'm going to link my chart by using the linking buttons up here to my scanner. Now I can take a look at RVP, which is Retractable Technologies. Take a look at the price activity. It doesn't seem like there was a reorg or a sudden change in price. It just seems like this stock moves a lot. Now, direction-wise, we're not really sure yet. The indicator and the formula that we put into the scanner just tells us that this stock moves a lot. Is it moving up or down? We don't know. But in relationship to the value of the stock, it actually moves very much. Let's take a look at the next one, which is CBAT. Yeah, you can see the movement here. This is a cheap stock, $6.11. But it's moving, let's see. CBAT is moving an average of 65 cents per day. That's about a 12% if you take into account the value of the stock. So it's an interesting way of looking at the scan. Again, there's so many different variations and so many different filters that you can use in the scanner, but I did want to use something simple like the average true range so that we can all understand what is the capability of the TradeStation scanner. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the questions that are coming through. And before I do, I want to emphasize that we are doing everything we can to help you with the TradeStation technology, especially if it's something custom, if it's something advanced. We are running the TradeStation Masterclass and giving you plenty of opportunities to interact with our instructors so you can get your platform to be exactly the way you want. While I run here, let me pull up this offer. I think I talked about it at the very beginning, but this is the TradeStation Masterclass online but you go to You Can Trade and you have access to the TradeStation Masterclass. Let's see some of the questions here. Can we add stocks from our watch list? Yes, you can create your own custom lists. But I want to emphasize the fact that we are here to help you with the TradeStation technology. Please join us in our daily classes inside of the You Can Trade environment. I see one more questions here. How can you search for 5% above, below 52-week? There are some fields here, and that's a question from Robert. If you go into the drop-down and you open up a folder called, let's see, dividends, financial strength, industry values, company profile, valuation ratios. No, this is not it. Price, maybe it's price. Yeah, price. Percent, here it is. Percent of 52-week high, low. So this is the type of quote that you can use in order to find stocks that are a certain percentage from hitting the 52-week high or low. Do you have to subscribe for these features? Eloise, that's a question from Eloise. If you have the TradeStation platform, everything that I showed you is built in. So you do need the TradeStation platform in order to have access to the scanner. Is the scanner possible with different time frames? Yes. If I open up these studies, notice that I have the interval of daily, but I can go here to the drop-down and select any intraday interval if I want to do that. Do you have to subscribe to YTC in order to join the Wednesday classes? Yes, Pam. This is a question from Pam. You become a YCT member, which is a totally free subscription. You become a member of the community. You don't have to pay anything for that. You don't even have to provide us your credit card information. And that gives you access to the Wednesday class, which is getting started. It's a basic class. It's a free channel, and all the archives are there, definitely. What's YCT? It's a question from Keith. YCT is You Can Trade, www.youcantrade. You can go there and check us out. It's an affiliate of TradeStation where we do trading education. And on You Can Trade, we have, or TradeStation is the host of two channels, the Getting Started with TradeStation and the TradeStation Masterclass. Check the content out. I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy it. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and end the class here. We are on the 60-minute mark, and I don't want to, use up more of your time. I know there's a lot more questions coming in the chat, but I want to, first of all, thank you for the time that you took out of your schedules to join me to talk a little bit about TradeStation. And second, to emphasize that we are doing a lot of education on You Can Trade, and I want to invite everyone to check us out. Okay, the 14-day free trial is there. You can sign up, check out the content, and if it's something you want to keep, then feel free to do so. But this is the best way in which you can learn about TradeStation, especially if you want to make TradeStation customized to the way that you trade. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and I hope to see you in a future event as well. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.